In the distant future, humanity is forced to reside in massive mobile fortress cities due to fear of attack by giant monsters called klaxosaurs. Klaxosaurs can only be fought by Franxx, giant robots that can only be operated by a male and female pilot working in unison. Dr. Franxx and 02 arrive in one such city to develop his latest Franxx. Hiro, meanwhile, is left depressed after failing his test to become a Franxx pilot and synchronize with his partner, Naomi. He encounters 02 by chance, who briefly flirts with him when he shows no fear of her horns. As Hiro's classmates attend the welcoming ceremony to become official Franxx pilots, Hiro debates leaving the city when a Mohorovichik-class Klaxosaur attacks. 02 deploys in her Franxx, Strzelecka, to fight it, but ends up getting injured and her partner is mortally wounded. Hiro volunteers to become 02's partner and she kisses him in response, activating Strzelecka's true form. Strzelecka effortlessly defeats the Klaxosaur, and it is revealed that 02 is a human Klaxosaur hybrid who has a reputation for killing her partners. Despite being able to pilot Strzelecka with 02, Hiro has no memories of what happened in the cockpit, leading some of his fellow pilots to be skeptical about what really happened, since it is rumored 02 is capable of piloting a Franxx on her own. Hiro's fellow pilots are also wary of 02 due to her reputation, especially Ichigo, who is concerned about Hiro's safety. Meanwhile, the leadership of Ape decide to further test Hiro's abilities and instruct him to participate in a mock Franxx battle, though he is forbidden from partnering with 02 or using Strzelecka. Ichigo volunteers to partner with Delphinium. Zarome and Miku volunteer to be their opponents. During the mock battle, Hiro is briefly able to connect with Ichigo and pilot Delphinium, but suddenly loses his connection with her and is unable to restart Delphinium. This breaks Hiro's confidence in himself and leaves Ichigo frustrated that she can't do anything to help Hiro. Following their mock battle, Hiro's fellow pilots are assigned to their first sortie, with the task of defeating a Klaxosaur under the city. But as they are about to leave, Ikuno and Mitsuru's connection falters. Thus, the pilots of Delphinium, Argenta and Genista, proceed without them. However, the situation turns to the worst when they end up surrounded by a horde of Klaxosaurs and are forced to flee. 02 asks to assist them on Strzelecka, but she's not allowed to sortie with Hiro until Mitsuru, determined to prove he is a better pilot than Hiro, offers himself to pair up with 02. Together, Mitsuru and 02 defeat the enemies with ease and rescue the others. But when they return, they find a heavily wounded Mitsuru as a consequence of pairing up with 02, who reaffirms her claim that Hiro is the only pilot compatible with her. Mitsuru begins to recover but is traumatized from his experience with 02. In fear of what happened in the last battle, 02 is called back by the authorities to return to the front lines. As 02 is escorted to a transport with Strzelecka, a Klaxosaur appears and attacks. The other pilots are dispatched to face it, but are overpowered by the enemy. Seeing 02 being taken away, Hiro finally makes up his mind and urges her not to leave and become his partner instead. 02 then disobeys her orders and boards Strzelecka with Hiro, which he manages to successfully pilot. The two then help the others to defeat the Klaxosaur. Afterwards, Plantation 13 lifts off to rendezvous with Plantation 26, and Hiro resolves that he will pilot Strzelecka with 02, even if it kills him. Plantation 13 links up with Plantation 26 in order to transfer much-needed magma fuel. However, the process is sure to attract Klaxosaurs, requiring the Franxx pilots of both plantations to work together. Meanwhile, Hiro becomes an accepted member of the squad, but Goro notices that Hiro's health has been declining significantly, with a blue tumor-like growth growing on his chest ever since he rode with 02. Hiro manages to convince Goro to keep quiet about his condition. Klaxosaurs are detected heading towards the plantation, and a plan to defend against them is made. Though the pilots of Plantation 26 express their misgivings about 02 and Strzelecka being involved due to them suffering losses in a past mission due to 02's actions. That night, Ichigo confronts 02 in an attempt to convince her not to put too much of a burden on Hiro's body, but fails. Ichigo and Goro are then both left feeling frustrated over how neither of them can help Hiro. Hiro meets 02 the next morning, and despite her warning that this would be his third ride with her, which may result in his death, Hiro reaffirms his desire to ride with her. As the horde of Conrad-class Klaxosaurs accompanied by a massive structure approach the plantations, the parasites make a line of defense with Squad 26 on the front, Squad 13 in the middle, and Strzelecka on the rear guard. After the Mino-Klaxosaurs are defeated, the structure reveals itself as a giant Gutenberg-class Klaxosaur that overpowers Squad 26. Squad 13 then rescues them and join for a combined attack to give an opening for Strzelecka to give the final blow. However, Strelazia fails to destroy the enemy, and Hiro collapses from exhaustion. He then accepts his death until he sees 02 fighting back desperately and decides not to give up, and joining with his companions to destroy the Gutenberg Klaxosaur. As the pilots celebrate, Dr. Franxx rejoices upon the prospect that Hiro may one day realize 02's wish. Due to their achievements in the previous battle, 02 is permanently assigned to Squad 13, and Hiro is officially recognized as a Franxx pilot. Squad 13 is then rewarded with a vacation to a nearby beach. As Squad 13 plays around, they observe Hiro's relationship with 02 and begin wondering what exactly a kiss and love are. They then stumble upon the ruins of a town nearby and begin exploring them. They are perplexed at the existence of the town, since they initially believed civilization only existed in the plantations. 02 explains to them that humans used to live on the surface, but were forced to abandon it for the plantations. While exploring, Kokodo finds a book about human reproduction. 02 questions Ichigo about her knowledge about kissing. Later that night, 02 decides to go for a swim, while Hiro and Ichigo walk on the beach and admire the stars, catching sight of a rain of shooting stars. Squad 13 is dispatched to take down another Gutenberg-class Klaxosaur en route of collision with the plantation. After the battle, Goro confesses his feelings for Ichigo, but claims that he's not in a hurry to hear an answer from her. The Seven Sages decide to reward the members of Squad 13 for their numerous victories against the Klaxosaurs, and they are briefly allowed into the city to be awarded with medals. The ceremony is short and sweet, but on the way back, Zotome drifts away from the rest and falls after seeing one of the few residents. When Zotome awakens, he's greeted by the woman who saved him, and he questions her about her adult life. Her life seems worlds away from his experience, and it is implied that the parasites will never become adults as their physiology is completely different, because she had to use diagnostic instruments for animals to analyze his injuries. As they talk, Zotome can't shake the feeling that they have met before, but the woman denies it. The authorities arrive to pick him up and treat it as if he carries an infection, quickly sending him back to the dorm. Squad 13 guards one of the facilities for the top-secret S planning, when Mitsuru collapses in the mid of battle. As he is treated, it is revealed that he underwent a dangerous procedure with only 15% survival rate to become a parasite when he was a child. Later, due to Mitsuru's incompatibility with Ikuno, Nana asks the parasites if they want to switch partners. Ikuno asks Ichigo to partner with her, but the two girls fail to synchronize. Kokodo offers to partner with Mitsuru, breaking a promise she made to Futoshi to stay together, much to Futoshi's despair. When a massive Klaxosaur appears, the parasites dispatch with Mitsuru and Kokodo piloting Genista and Futoshi piloting Chlorophytum with Ikuno. During the battle, the pilots decide to use Genista's close-range attack to open a break for them, but cannot reach the core. Mitsuru gives up, still disheartened about Hiro forgetting the promise he made to him that they would pilot together in the past. So Kokodo attempts to cheer him up before successfully and dangerously trying to pilot Genista by herself. Regaining control, Mitsuru and Kokodo manage to synchronize and open a big hole in the enemy to expose the core for Strelazia to destroy it. After the battle, Futoshi reprimands Mitsuru for his behavior, but Mitsuru promises that he will protect Kokodo in the future. Squad 13 is sent back to the garden to undergo some tests, the place where they were raised. They were greeted by the 9's, 02's former squad, and their leader, 9 Alpha, who wonders what 02, formerly coded 9 Iota, saw in them. Disobeying orders, Hiro and the others visit the old facilities where they used to live, hoping to meet Naomi again. But she is nowhere to be seen, and the adults refuse to tell them where she is. They also discover that the children from the garden are being developed into parasites at a much earlier age, in response to the increased number of Klaxosaur attacks. When a group of Klaxosaurs attack the garden, Squad 13 is dispatched, and Hiro notes that 02's horns and canines have grown further. During the battle, a desperate 02 ignores orders and attacks alone, claiming that she must kill more Klaxosaurs in order to become truly human. After the battle, Hiro asks the meaning of her words, but she refuses to answer. Meanwhile, Ichigo eavesdrops on a conversation between Nana and Hachi in which they affirm that the saurification process in 02 and Hiro is intensifying, much to her horror. When a second wave of Klaxosaurs attacks, Squad 13 sorties again, and once more 02 turns rogue. She starts attacking Hiro when he attempts to stop her, causing Hiro to have visions of a past he has long forgotten. Hiro and 02 recall their childhoods in the garden. After encountering 02, Hiro was horrified when he discovered her torture treatment and eventually broke her out of her cell and convinced her to escape with him. Unable to comprehend language, 02 saw a parallel in the storybook and her time with Hiro, vowing to become human and be with him. They are eventually hunted down and captured by security forces. Their memories are erased, including Hiro's memory of his promise to Mitsuru, leading to his anger at Hiro. Back in the present, Ichigo and Delphinium warns Hiro to get away from 02 as she will consume his energy, but Hiro suddenly remembers that 02 is the girl from his past. After the battle, 02 recalls her memories, realizing Hiro was her darling from their childhood experience. Meanwhile, Hiro is hospitalized while Ichigo and her friends forbid 02 from seeing him. As Hiro rests, Squad 13 is informed that they will take part in a large-scale operation involving the Nines and squads from previous plantations, and that 02 will be transferred back to the Nines. Before the operation begins, Squad 13 works to prevent Hiro and 02 meeting. She finally convinces them to let her see him, but Hiro had already left the room on his own to meet her, discover it to be empty. Believing that she is being deceived by the others, 02 attacks them. When Hiro returns and sees 02's behavior, he reprimands her, calling her a monster. Contrite, 02 believes that this is her punishment for her past deeds, and accepts that she must leave his side. As the operation is about to begin, 02 leaves the dorm to rejoin the Nines, but just when Hiro decides to go after her, Ichigo holds him back with a kiss and confesses her feelings for him. Hiro stays behind while the rest of Squad 13 take part in the operation against the massive Klaxosar horde on the Grand Crevasse. Led by the Nines, the human forces appear to be defeating the Klaxosars until a gigantic, Super Lemon-class Klaxosar emerges and completely destroys Plantation 26. In an attempt to halt its progress, the members of Squad 26 are ordered to make a suicide assault on the creature but fail, and the monster starts towards Plantation 13. It stops and disgorges a small horde of Conrad-class Klaxosars, which Ichigo and the others begin fighting, until Hiro in a training unit joins them. With Ichigo's help, he reaches 02 aboard Strelazia, but finds her almost losing her sanity from operating alone, until he confesses his love for her and they synchronize. Together, they power up Strelazia to the point of single-handedly destroying the Super Lenim Klaxosar, breaking open the doorway to the Grand Crevasse with help from the Nines. However, the Super Lemon's cores are still active and about to explode, when a colossal hand emerges from the Grand Crevasse and retrieves the cores, astonishingly sparing the lives of Squad 13 and the residential area of Plantation 13. After the battle at the Grand Crevasse, the members of Squad 13 are left by themselves on standby at Misteltein in the ruins of Plantation 13. They do not realize their new environment is part of an experiment by Dr. Franxx. Most of the services are suspended, except for a weekly delivery of supplies, and they have no external contact, forcing the parasites to manage by themselves. Despite their new responsibilities and hardships, they enjoy their new life together, especially 02, who is more relaxed and warmly welcomed back into the squad. Kokodo gives Mitsuru a haircut and then unexpectedly kisses him. The squad works together to cook dinner for themselves. Later, Hiro and 02 spend more time together, and 02 shows him that she is rewriting the picture book, only for her to have a foreboding feeling of something lurking outside the plantation. The Nines visit Squad 13 on Misteltein, causing them to feel less abandoned. Meanwhile, Hiro has started growing horns, making him more like his beloved. The Nines discover a book about human reproduction, which Kokodo was hiding. Meanwhile, Kokodo makes a pass at Mitsuru, which confuses him, though a talk with Hiro helps him realize his feelings for her. Later, when the Nines question Kokodo about possessing forbidden knowledge, she expresses the desire to bear a child. Later, while Hachi and Nana interview Kokodo, Nana collapses, which 9 Alpha claims is a symptom of regression into puberty. Hachi then informs Dr. Franxx, who decides to terminate the experiment of leaving the parasites alone. Meanwhile, members from the APE meet with the princess of the Klaxosars, demanding her surrender, but she slays them instead, calling them human wannabes. Back in Misteltein, Squad 13 debate Kokodo's ideas. That night, Mitsuru visits Kokodo, and after he expresses affection for her, they consummate their relationship. Meanwhile, at APE, Papa discusses his plans to wipe out all Klaxosars when the Nines appear with news from their visit to Misteltein. Ichigo is informed by Hachi that Squad 13 is about to be transferred from Misteltein to a special facility where the rest of the parasites are stationed. The squad decides to hold a wedding ceremony for Kokodo and Mitsuru. Ichigo visits Ikuno, who is recovering from a fever, and Ikuno confesses that she is in love with Ichigo, During the wedding, the Nines invade Misseltine with a team of soldiers and take both into custody. In a flashback, Nana is shown emotionally distraught at the death of her partner in a Franxx. Weeks later, at the Bird's Nest camp for children, Mitsuru and Kokodo are reunited with Squad 13, but the others are shocked to see that they have no recollection of each other. Both 02 and Hiro realize that Mitsuru and Kokodo have had their memories erased, similar to what had happened to them in the past. The APE Supreme Commanders justify wiping the memories of Mitsuru and Kokodo in the interests of achieving their objectives. Dr. Franxx remembers back in 2025 when, as the scientist Werner Frank, he was hired by APE to research human immortality, and his subsequent success, albeit at the cost of human reproductive process. He recalls how heavy mining of the magma energy on the planet led to the appearance of the Klaxosaurs, and consequent creation of the autonomous plantations. He developed the Franxx units to combat the Klaxosaurs, but at a considerable loss of life for their human pilots, including his fiancée, Karina Milsa. This led to the creation of children who would later become parasites. In 2042, an expedition including Werner Frank was set to meet the Klaxosaur princess. The humanoid princess captivated him, but she then tore off his arm as punishment for destroying her Klaxosaurs. However, he returned to APE with a sample of her hair, which he extracted the DNA to create 02. Back in the present, Hiro and the others demanded that Papa restore Kokodo and Mitsuru's memories, but are told that their memories were erased and restoring them is impossible. When Squad 13 realized that they will never become adults, Papa agrees to release them from duty once their next mission against the Klaxosaurs is over. The parasites gather at the side of the Grand Crevasse for the final battle against the Klaxosaurs. As the others confront a huge army of Klaxosaurs attacking the base, Hiro and 02 are tasked to use Strelazia to control the Star Entity, a massive weapon stored inside the Grand Crevasse. Amidst the battle, Kokodo and Mitsuru are struck with pain for saying their names. The Klaxosaur princess sneaks past security and assumes control of Strelazia by violently dragging 02 out of the cockpit and synchronizing with Hiro by force. Suddenly, an armada of spaceships appear in Earth's orbit, and the Klaxosaurs stop fighting the parasites to attack it. Papa then reveals that he and his companions are actually members of Verm, an alien race who once attacked Earth in the past but were defeated by the Klaxosaurs, and all of APE's actions were part of their plan to use mankind against them. Having predicted the princess's attempt to take control of the Star Entity, the Verm trigger a self-destruct mechanism installed on it to wipe out all the Klaxosaurs, along with Earth. As the Verm use their powers to upload the consciousness of the humans from the plantation into their system, Hiro uses his connection with the Klaxosaur princess to delay the explosion of the Star Entity, while the rest of Squad 13 rushes back to the Grand Crevasse to help their friends. Two members of the Nines are killed by Verm, sending Alpha into a rage. Meanwhile, a wounded 02 meets with Dr. Franxx, who explains that she and the rest of the Nines were created by cloning the princess's cells, but she was the only one of them who inherited her powers. Determined to rescue Hiro, 02 rushes back to Strelazia, assisted by Dr. Franxx and her friends. Upon reuniting with Hiro, 02 and the princess use all their energy to restore him and take back control of the Star Entity, which transforms into the gigantic Strelazia Apis and defeats the invaders. The Verm then decide to retreat, promising to return with their entire armada to wipe out Earth. Just as Hiro celebrates their victory, he finds that 02 is not responding. The Klaxosaurs depart for space to fight Verm, taking Strelazia Apis with them, while the surviving parasites work together to ensure their survival, led by Squad 13. 02 is still in a catatonic state, and Hiro is puzzled by a series of wounds which appear on her body. Nana informs the other that Kokodo is pregnant with Mitsuru's child. Meanwhile, Hachi and the original Nana locate the facility where the discarded parasites are being held, including Naomi. They read a message left by Dr. Franxx before his death, instructing them to take care of the parasites. Desperate about 02's condition, Hiro realizes that her mind is still inside Strelazia Apis, fighting Verm with the other Klaxosaurs in the orbit of Mars. He decides to leave for space to reunite with her despite his friend's protests. In the end, the other members of Squad 13 agree to accompany Hiro in an abandoned Klaxosaur spaceship, and are joined by the surviving members of the Nines. However, Mitsuru stays behind, concerned for the pregnant Kokodo. Leaving Mitsuru, Kokodo, and 02's body behind, Squad 13 departs into space to join the fight against Verm. With the help from the others, 9 Alpha partners with Hiro, who safely enters Strelazia Apis before 9 Alpha goes on to sacrifice himself in the battle. The Verm offer perpetual tranquility and peace to the humans, but Nana and Hachi reject that as an unacceptable option. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Kokodo initially refuses Mitsuru's support, but he convinces her that despite losing their memories, they share a common bond through their unborn child, and they reconcile. Aboard Strelizia Apis, Hiro slowly reunites with Zero-Two's consciousness and they agree to fight together again, converting the Strelizia Apis into the more powerful Strelizia True Apis. After defeating the Verm forces, a warp gate appears, created a long time ago by the Klaxo Sapiens. Hiro and Zero-Two enter the warp gate, carrying a massive bomb created by the Klaxosaurs in an attempt to destroy Verm, promising their friends that they'll return home. While Hiro and Zero-Two fight the Verm in space, the surviving parasites work together to rebuild society from scratch. Kokodo gives birth to a baby girl, whom she and Mitsuru name Ai. Naomi is rescued along with the other missing children. Goro leaves to travel the world in search for other survivors and resources, but not before kissing Ichigo. 2 years pass, just as the Strelizia True Apis reaches the Verm homeworld. Hiro and Zero-Two's connection is cut off by Verm's interference, leaving them vulnerable. Realizing that something is wrong by Ai's intuition, the members of Squad 13 join together to pray for their safety, and their thoughts reach Hiro, allowing him to reconnect with Zero-Two, and together they sacrifice themselves to destroy the Verm homeworld, liberating all of the souls trapped there. Despite that, the Verm declare that they will return one day. With the war over, the remaining Klaxosaurs return to Earth's underground, restoring nature with their energy, and the parasites declare that they will never use magma energy again. 8 years later, the world is restored to a prosperous state thanks to the parasites' hard work. The former squad reunites during their childhood school entrance ceremony and remember Hiro and Zero-Two. 1,000 years later, Hiro and Zero-Two's souls reincarnate as a pair of children that meet each other again. And that's the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this, so I'll see you at the next one.